Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, guys. Quick update. I got up at 6:30 this morning, went down to the Doc in a Box, had the migraine cocktail, which is fluids, Decadron, and Benadryl, and my headache is poof, gone. Let's hope it stays gone. So we're going to move on into our video for today. Let's go. To start out with, I want to make a quick correction. I made the point that Margaret wasn't referenced anywhere in here, which she is in there with her family, and I just thought she should have something. Apparently, there was not room in the vault for her, so they had her cremated so she could be placed into the vault. And that stone that you see right there leaning up against the wall has her information on it. Thank you all for the correction. Moving on. Andrew was seen for the first time since his mother's funeral. He was riding in Windsor on his horse, dressed head to toe in riding gear. Now, apparently, he also put out a statement about his mother, which I didn't see, but it was touching, so let me read it to you. It said, and I'm quoting, "Dear Mummy, Mother, Your Majesty, 3 in 1. Your Majesty, it has been an honor and privilege to serve you. Mother of the nation, your devotion and personal service to our nation is unique and singular. Your people show their love and respect in so many different ways, and I know you are looking on honoring their respect. Your love for a son, your compassion, your care, your confidence, I will treasure forever. I have found your knowledge and wisdom infinite, with no boundary or containment. I will miss your insight, advice, and humor. As our book of experiences closes, another one opens, and I will hold you forever close to my heart with my deepest love and gratitude. And I will tread gladly into the next world with you as my guide." And he finished it with, "God save the king," in honor of his brother. Right, next up, we know Charles and Camilla went to Scotland to grieve privately for the Queen, and they went ahead and attended church after returning to Balmoral. I mean, I would expect no less, since he now is the head of the church. I would expect to see him going to church. But I think beyond all that, Charles always was a very religious man. That's what I've seen through the years with him. So I'm glad to see that he and Camilla went to church. Apparently, it was a very nice service. They were seen entering, as you can see above, and then they were seen leaving. Hopefully, he'll come back from Scotland soon and we'll get to see some more of him. All right, moving on. All right, it's coming out in all the news outlets that Prince Harry is absolutely panicked and is trying to make changes to his book that is supposed to be, an honest and truthful account. And it's not about the prince he was born, but as the man he's become. Well, if it was a totally truthful account, why would you be running around now trying to make changes to it? That makes absolutely no sense. You know how much I love Australian news. Watch this.
In terms of Prince Harry, apparently he's trying to make last-minute changes to his memoir following the death of his grandmother. What would be considered insensitive?
Well, this is the trouble with this, Mon, is that as it's an autobiography, and we know it's been penned by somebody else, but the fact is he's got to own every word, hasn't he? And this is written by him, so every single word is his. I don't know if he can dampen it down, because if he does, then the amount of money he's been paid, well, the publishers might turn around and say, we don't want to pay you the rest.
Yeah.
GB News had a few statements, a few thoughts on that as well. Watch this.
That's a great point. But what we're hearing is that he is nervous. He's afraid that he'll come off insensitive, and he's afraid that there will be backlash if he releases some of these, stories right after the death of Queen Elizabeth. And as his father, King Charles, is trying to, start his reign on a high note. So we're being told that he is hustling, trying to get some items removed, trying to work around some of the stories he's told in his book. However, that just might not be an option at this time if he really does want that fall release date close to Christmas to get the Christmas rush. Those pages might already be on the printer. I don't know if I anticipated that. I really thought he'd pull the book entirely after last week. I was really hoping that he would go in that direction.
That's the case. So the publishers probably very strongly calling the shots.
Absolutely. And Isabel, it's like you said, he already cashed a huge check and they have 16 bathrooms. That's a lot of toilet paper, Isabel. I have also heard that there are edits being made to Meghan's upcoming podcast interviews to ensure that nothing insensitive or insulting is said in the direction of the royal family. And that's what got him into this whirlwind.
Now, let's not forget, they've also got their documentary with Netflix coming up, and The Crown is getting ready to launch. Now, I think that they're still doing The Crown, Netflix is, because we know their stocks are plummeting. We know that they have less and less subscribers, and they're telling Harry he should show some loyalty and cut ties with Netflix. But let's be honest, people, they can't afford to do that. Once again, GB News has some thoughts on that. Watch this.
Pleasure, but I also don't want anything to come out that might harm King Charles and Queen Camilla in this new reign. And that is what they're anticipating. They're fearful that this new season is going to ramp up people hostile at Charles and Camilla again.
So people are putting up comments like this one. How can they carry on with this deal? Many believe that it's fact because, I believe Netflix was asked to put a disclaimer and they refused. It will cause untold damage to the king and queen consort around the world early in his reign. Are Harry and Meghan really that hard up? Well, this person replied, isn't that what the Harkles wanted, to cause untold damage? Why do you think that they've been against the royal family for so long? It doesn't look like they just want to go off and live in peace happily ever after and let the royal family live happily ever after. And I agree. Teresa Longo, she's just as good as a blind item and she's usually spot on, said that over at Netflix, the strategy and analysis team are at odds because Netflix data shows there's no interest in the historical documentary on Harry and Meghan's love story. Yeah, what were they expecting? Well, as this pointed out, any love story that starts with, if you don't make an announcement, I'm your girlfriend, I'm going to break up with you, is probably not a love story worth watching. But it's all of this, my friends, which is why King Charles is not conferring the Prince and Princess titles and the HRH titles to Harry and Meghan's kids. They're waiting to see if they can be trusted. They're waiting for that book to come out. They're waiting to see what they're going to do next. You can't really blame them now, can you? All right, next up, the bullying allegations. Here comes the book that I told you Valentine Lowe was putting out, all about the bullying allegations. I find it highly unlikely that 10 or 12 aides got together, came up with these stories, and are slamming these people. Sorry. The book is called Courtiers, The Hidden Power Behind the Crown, and it's one you're not going to want to miss, let me tell you. One royal aide said that Meghan called her while she was out on a Friday night dinner every 10 minutes, and she had to keep going outside to be screamed at by her and Harry. I can't believe you've done this to me. What were you thinking? And it went on and then the next morning, she started right back up again. And now they've branded Meghan a narcissistic sociopath. Yeah, and they've named themselves the Sussex Survivor Club. You can't really blame them there now, can you? Even Samantha the Panther Cohen was not immune to their behavior. And it was reported that they were so rude on their tour to everybody around them. I just can't, terrible. If that had been me, I would have hung up the phone and said, it's Friday night, I'm not working, I'm at dinner. I wouldn't have answered that damn phone. No way. And it's being said that the revenge book by Tom Bauer was just the appetizer, and that this book, Courtiers, is the main course. And I love what Indy wrote. They work together like salt and pepper. Australian News had some thoughts about the bullying claim as well. Listen to this.
Sunrise Royal Editor Rob Jobson. Jobbo, morning to you. Now, this book is written by the same author who exposed the first bullying accusations against Meghan. Now, they claim to have interviewed some very close sources. Do you think it's true?
Yeah, it's written by a mate of mine actually called Val Lowe. I used to work with him on the Standard. He's now at the Times, and he wrote that original story. Yeah, absolutely, I think it's true. The courtiers have clearly come out and told their version of the truth, which seems to be pretty damning on Meghan's part.
Here's a different take from a different Australian News on this book. Listen to this.
Because over the weekend, 3 different books had extracts published in 3 different newspapers in the UK, and subsequently those stories have been picked up here. Now, the main book that I would point you towards and say this is the book that has really serious cred is written by a man called Valentine Lowe. Now, this Valentine Lowe works for The Times, so super cred, and he was the man who originally reported the bullying allegations of Meghan against Princess Charlotte. Now, that's the cover of his latest book. Now, in it, he goes into great detail about Meghan Markle and Harry. So there are another 2 books that are out there as well, another by Katie Nicholl, another by Angela Levin. One of them is talking about the fact that Harry and Meghan wanted to move into Windsor Castle. They didn't want Frogmore Cottage, and we know all the extensive renovations they did to it when they did get it, but they saw themselves living in a suite of apartments at Windsor Castle, and the Queen said no. Now, the other interesting thing to note is that in the Katie Nicholl book, she's got a lady called, literally a lady, called Lady Elizabeth Anson speaking to her on the record. Now, since that interview, Lady Anson has died, but she did talk on the record. She's the Queen's cousin and confidant of the Queen, and she quotes directly conversations that she had with the Queen about Harry and Meghan.
And one more thought from GB News on the Courtier's book. Listen to this.
It is so good, this book. If you are a royal gossip fan, they talk about how Meghan thought she was going to be the Beyonce of the UK. Some of the former Sussex employees call themselves the Sussex Survivors Club. They said Harry and Meghan acted like teenagers. Their behavior was very immature, the way that they dealt with their staff and their personnel. Now, Valentine Lowe, he released some of this information right before the Oprah Winfrey interview, and in teasing it, the Sussexes sent him a letter from their attorney threatening legal action. Now, the article was published and that legal action never happened. And as we have noticed, if something is wrong and the Sussexes can prove it, they take that person to court. They did not take Tom Bower to court, and they did not take Valentine Lowe to court for his original published story. And here is this book with all of these other juicy details about Meghan allegedly bullying palace staff, making them feel very small, and I think that this book is going to be very harmful towards the Sussexes brand.
Another book that I have to pre-order and get my hands on. Ugh. All right, moving on to our next story. All right, this is just a little story I'm throwing in. Apparently, when the senior royals got on that flight to go see the Queen, when it was announced that she was being closely monitored, it's being reported now that Harry was offered to be on that flight, but he missed the flight because he was fighting with Meghan, because Meghan apparently wanted to go, and Charles said, no, it's an intimate family moment. Kate wasn't there, none of the other grandchildren were there, grow a pair. All right, moving on. All right, now the PR stuff is happening against Meghan Markle, like this one. 15 times her truth was called out, from Mandela to the N-word road to making Kate Middleton cry. You know, people are starting to fight back. They're not just taking the crap that Meghan and Harry are dishing out. Here's another one. Meghan only told the nanny they were going to Canada once the plane took off, another private jet, I might add, and she stayed with them in Canada into 2020, but the nanny wasn't told where they were going. Isn't that just like the craziest thing you've ever heard? Like, who doesn't tell the staff where you're taking them? Ugh. Now, the Sussexes are hitting back with their own stuff. Tyler Perry is coming out again, talking about Harry and Meghan and how wonderful they are and how much they've had to endure, and he just loves them. And I'm still figuring out what it is they had to endure. Was it the $32 million wedding? Was it the travel? Was it the jewelry, the diamonds she was wearing? Was it the expensive clothing and purses and stuff what exactly did she have to endure? Right? So Tyler Perry goes on a radio talk show. You knew exactly what was going to come out of his mouth. I think we all did. He starts this whole, they were giving her hell because she's black. Let's just call it what it is. Flat out. No denying it. You know what I see? I see, and there were some racist articles, no doubt. There were 7 or 8 of them, maybe 10. But how many articles have been done on her? And she chooses to focus on those 10 articles instead of the other 100,000 that paint her in a good light. It's the whole victim thing. It's just like what I found this on Twitter. Being labeled a racist today is just like being labeled a witch in the Middle Ages. No evidence is required. It's simply a weapon used to defeat people you don't like. And, the ignorant, angry mob never questions it. Exactly. About this article, since first becoming a household name as Prince Harry's girlfriend, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, has been subject to an endless stream of vitriolic, unfathomable hate. Right? And we don't think she deserves it. Give me a break. You've got to be kidding. Really? Oh, so much hate here. Oh, yeah, she's really for the people. I can see it. Moving on. This next story came out. Meghan is being lined up for an honorary GQ Men of the Year award. Yeah, she's very manly. I can see why she'd be earning that award. But as soon as I read this, I thought something's wrong. Because every time something like this is involved, there's money somewhere. It's called Cash for Honors. It's the same thing that happened with the NAACP award. So they're having this big hotel in London on November 16th. They're expecting her to attend, which means that they will be paying for her jet. They will be paying for her hotel. They're paying for everything. And then it came out that in order to attend the award, you have to pay thousands of dollars. That's where her paycheck is coming from. It's really, people, this is how it's set up. All right, you guys, I have to turn my attention back to Mr. Bouzy. There's a lot, once again, going on. For instance, here's a tweet that he put up, as you can see, in 2019, where he says he runs the performance service from home. And the next tweet, he goes, they think my servers are located in my house. The man can't figure out this is why receipts are so important. Then he turned his attention to Sue Me. Remember, she's the one who collected all that money for the fund in case one of us got sued. And of course, Mr. Bouzy's putting up tweets. Remember that woman? And she's claiming that she donated the money. No, she never said that. Then he put up a tweet saying that they let the wolves in sheep's clothing waltz right in like she'd done something illegal. Then he said that she doesn't have the funds. Because she spent it. Make up your mind. Did she spend it? Did she get rid of it? And then he put up this tweet. He's saying that his case won't go beyond the motion to dismiss because we hired a MAGA lawyer who thinks Donald Trump won the election because no lawyer with common sense would entertain this nonsense. Really? Let's not forget that Mr. Bouzy accused a former police officer and prosecutor who's now an attorney of planting evidence on people to get convictions. Yeah, that's defamation. Here's some evidence he gave to somebody who's being sued. He said, you're being sued for defamation, and instead of remaining quiet and hiring a decent legal team, you put up more highly defamatory remarks that will indeed be used as evidence in this case. Thoughts and prayers to your account balance. Yeah, take your own advice, dude, because since you're being sued for defamation, you're out there running your mouth and making all these horrible claims that are going to be used against you. Like this one, bypass the whole cease and desist and just file the grift suit because we won't comply with whatever's in the letter. Yeah, that's not a good thing to say. I also find it interesting that he's not going to comply when he's screaming up, down, right, and left about the fact that Sue Me and me have not complied with his cease and desist. Unbelievable. Well, do you guys remember this thing that he did to raise money to crowdfund source a lawsuit to sue me? Yeah, well, one of the people clicked the link and come to find out that he's only raised $75, which I'm guessing is why he never got around to suing me. But I bet he needs that $75 for his attorney to fight Attorney Nate. And in the meantime, Mr. Bouzy keeps putting up these comments that are going to go really bad for him in court. Personally, I say keep going. Now, here's the interesting thing. People are always asking, why didn't Twitter get rid of him? Well, this is why. There was an article done on Mr. Bouzy, and as you can see, it says right here, he maintained a friendly relationship with Twitter, and Twitter asked Bot Sentinel to test features and partner with it on launches. Twitter liked its usefulness and wanted to learn from it, according to emails and messages from the company, from Twitter, seen by the person who wrote this article. There you go. So Bouzy is now going down the list of people who are subscribed to Attorney Nate and, Eric Hunley and all these people, and he's blocking. People are finding that they're being blocked and they've never even spoken to Mr. Bouzy. So here's a list of things that you might have done that would upset him and cause him to block you. All right, a quick update on Finn. He's doing his usual nose out, arms out. Watch this. God, it's just too funny. He went under, came out, just the nose. Now, I've always said that he seems very intuitive, Finn does, and he can tell when I don't feel well. So this is him yesterday when I still had a headache. Watch this. Finn can always tell when I don't feel well. Can't you? Mm-hmm. He's my snuggle buddy today. And of course, he never misses the chance to snuggle with my husband. I'm telling you, I showed you the nose out, and then when he finally comes out, that's what he does. He lays down next to my husband. So once again, lots of information. What do you guys think about them not cutting themselves off on the Netflix deal or the book deal and him trying to change the book in order to get the titles for the kids? What do you guys think about the book Courtiers? And what do you think about what's going on with Mr. Bouzy? Oh my goodness. All right. Leave those comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I upload. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. To those who have donated to my coffee fund and to the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.